everyone, this is Commander Val from the Challenger Learning Center of Northwest Indiana, and I'm here to do some at-home science with you with materials that you can likely find in your house already. We're going to do 3 different experiments today, and if you'd like to follow along with me or get a good feel for the materials and all the procedures, you can print out this guide sheet, this lab sheet, right from the Facebook post. And it has all the materials, it has all the steps, and it has even spots for you to write down your results and what you think about what you did. So I encourage you to use this lab sheet as we do the experiment today. So everything we're going to do today involves chemistry. Now I want you to think about what comes to mind when you hear the word chemistry. Maybe you picture scientists in a lab coat and wearing goggles and pouring different liquids and mixing them together, and maybe an explosion happens. That would be correct if that's what comes to mind with chemistry. There's all kinds of things that could come to mind with chemistry because it's the study of matter. Okay, now what is matter? Well, matter consists of solids, liquids, and gases. And when those solids and liquids and gases sometimes interact with each other, we have something called a chemical reaction. So what happens during a chemical reaction is different materials come together and something completely new is created that wasn't there before. Maybe a new smell indicates that that's happened, or a new color. If you have a substance that's created that wasn't there originally, and if you cannot get those original materials back the way they were at the beginning, then you know that a chemical reaction has happened. Think about just simple things like cooking. If you crack an egg on a stovetop and you're cooking that egg, you have created a chemical reaction because something new has happened or something new has been created. Or even when you leave a bike outside and it rains on it a lot and that iron, that metal starts to rust, that's also an example of a chemical reaction. So we're all about chemical reactions today, and all 3 of the experiments we're going to do are related to that. So we're going to start with a classic experiment that you might have seen before because it involves 2 ingredients, baking soda and vinegar. Now, who here has ever made a volcano at home or at school? You guys ever done that before? Well, if you did, then you would already see this reaction in action. Okay, so we're not going to make a volcano today, but we're going to use the same ingredients, and we're going to see a similar chemical reaction. Okay, so here's what you need for this experiment. Okay, you're going to need some vinegar. Okay, I have a lot. I happen to have big industrial vinegar here. You don't need all that. I have a container of baking soda that you're going to need also, baking soda. Okay, I have an empty water bottle. It's okay if it's still a little bit wet inside, not a big deal. You need a balloon, any kind of party balloon. And finally, a funnel. This funnel is optional, but it will help us pour our materials more easily. Now what I also did here though with the vinegar was I poured some into a measuring cup just so that it would be easier to use later. So I'm going to switch this out with that. I don't need the big jug. Alright, so the first thing you have to do is pour some vinegar into this water bottle. Okay, we can pour it in more carefully if we have it in this measuring cup, and we only need not more than 1/3 of the bottle needs to be filled with vinegar. So I'm going to pour that in as carefully as I can. Alright, so that looks like plenty of vinegar for what I need for this experiment. So I have a bottle with some vinegar in it. Now I have to try to get some baking soda into this balloon. Okay, that's not going to be easy without my funnel. So it's nice that I have a funnel. I can put the balloon around the bottom here, and now I can just pour the baking soda in like this. Now I only need about 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'm not going to measure it out, but I'm just going to pour it in here, and I'm going to let it settle to the bottom. Yep, I can feel it at the bottom. There you go. And then I'm going to just take my funnel and put it aside. So I have my baking soda in this balloon and my vinegar in this bottle. Alright, so now I'm going to wrap the balloon around the mouth of the bottle like this. Now I'm not going to pour it over yet, but in a few seconds I'm going to basically take the balloon and dump the baking soda into the vinegar. So I want you to be a good scientist, and I want you to predict what's going to happen when you do that. Okay, so make that prediction. Alright, now I'm going to do it in 3, 2, 1. I'm dumping that baking soda into the vinegar, and look what's happening. Okay, they are producing a reaction here. All those bubbles here were not there before. That represents, or that shows, that something new has been formed, and that's carbon dioxide gas, or CO2. Okay, when the baking soda and vinegar react, that is the new substance that's created. And the gas, the carbon dioxide gas is trying to escape from the bottle, but it can't go anywhere because this balloon is in the way. So instead, it fills up the balloon, which is really cool. All right, now just like in the volcano experiment, when you combine the baking soda and vinegar, you kind of get that explosion, all those bubbles, they flow out. That's the carbon dioxide. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this aside. One thing I also noticed is this got really, really cold. That reaction produced a cold temperature too. So I'm going to put this aside. And if you're following along at home on your lab sheet, you can draw a picture of what happened. This is on page 2. Okay, and then on the next page, you can talk about what you learned about chemical reactions and other examples you can think of to change up this experiment.